Hi everybody, this is Kevin, and welcome back to another anime review. And today I'm going to be continuing my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure review series with the second half of Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. Now, I mentioned last week that this is the longest of the 6 anime parts at 48 episodes, and it's split onto 2 Blu-rays. So last week we talked about the road to Egypt, the first 24 episodes, and today we're going to talk about the remaining 24 episodes, the battle in Egypt. And lots of good shit, man. I loved how, this is the introduction to stands, and the structure of the first half, and it does continue in the second half here, but you have the road trip, our heroes journeying from Japan all the way to Egypt to find Dio, and each episode they run into a new stand, or else there's like a 2-part episode with the stands more powerful, and they gotta fight them for 2 episodes, and then they continue their journey, getting a new vehicle, whether it be a plane, a car, a fucking submarine, whatever it is, continuing the journey. And now that they're in Egypt, they don't know where Dio is exactly, so they still continue wandering the streets of Egypt, running into more of his minions. And when we saw his minions in the first half, they all had stands named after tarot cards, and now that they ran out of tarot cards, it's Egyptian gods are the names of the stands. Like there's one called Anubis and stuff like that. Osiris. I thought that was a nice touch. But anyway, again, this is your spoiler warning. If you have not watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 Stardust Crusaders, now is the time to click away. If you don't care about spoilers and have seen it, this is my review discussion video, so you've been warned. Let me go over the voice cast yet again. There's a few new characters, but I'll just quickly go over it. We have Matthew Mercer again as Jotaro Kujo, Richard Epcar as Joseph Joestar, Chris Tergliafera as Muhammad Abdal, Kyle Haber as Noriaki Kakyoin, Doug Erholtz as Jean-Pierre Polnareff, and now coming into the picture, we have Derek Stephen Prince as Iggy, who's this little dog who can use a stand. The Fool is the name of the stand, and Iggy doesn't talk throughout this half of the series at all until his episode where he's isolated and he goes up against this bird who uses the stand, and then you finally hear Derek Stephen Prince's actual voice. I think he's there making the dog noises, but he doesn't actually speak until later on. And what a great character Iggy is. Holy crap, and I love that mangy butt, as Polnareff calls him. And of course, Patrick Seitz as Dio. Let's see, I don't know if there's... Oh, you have like Xander Mobus as one of the Darby Elder. We'll go over that once I get to the screenshots, I suppose. But, some of the names, we have Vanilla Ice. There's, Oingo Boingo. Of course, Dio is named after a band, too. But anyway, our heroes continue going through Egypt. As they run into more of his stand users, he sent the more powerful ones after him, and after every couple episodes, it cuts to Dio, like, I feel them getting closer. What is the meaning of this? And Joseph is able to use his Hermit Purple technique on, another camera. She has to break it, and he notes every time how these cameras are so expensive. So how many cameras has he broken? It's just crazy. But they figure out the palace where Dio is residing, so they got to keep wandering around looking for that, and all sorts of crazy hijinks ensue. There's one stand an instance where Joseph and Abdal get separated from Polnareff and Jotaro, and both episodes, there's like 2 episodes of Joseph and Abdal, and then 2 episodes of Jotaro and Polnareff, and it's happening at the same time. And Polnareff and Jotaro turn into like children due to this one guy's stand. And there's this hilarious scene where Polnareff, he's always hitting on all the ladies, and this one sexy mama shows up, and Polnareff's like, oh wow, he's like, oh my little man, oh hey, and he's trying to protect her, and this woman comes and starts bathing him, and it's just crazy shit. But then she turns into a fucking fetus, and Polnareff has to protect her, and all the crazy shit that happens in the show. It's just insane. That's why they call it the Bizarre Adventure. And there's a thing at the end of that episode where Polnareff, one of his earrings disappears, and he leaves and he's only wearing the one earring, but then the next episode is his earring's back. So what the fuck happened there? It's like, come on, they should have kept his earring gone to keep the character arc going, I suppose. But yeah, there's a funny scene with Joseph where the one stand user he's going up against, he turns into a magnet. And he like sticks together with Abdal. Some really funny shit there. There's one where they go up against Darby Lesser, who is a gambler, and just the epic music playing. And it turns out that Jotaro, well, before Jotaro, Joseph tries to. They're battling for someone, Polnareff's soul or Kakuin's soul, one of them, and they're having this game where they have this shot glass full of whiskey and they gotta drop coins into it. And, you know, it's like so intense that they're dropping the coins, the epic music playing. But, of course, Darby Lesser, or Darby Younger, he cheats. And there's like this chocolate at the end, which, you know, is raises the glass a little bit. But then he challenges Jotaro to a game of poker, and Jotaro has some epic poker face, and he has one of the worst hands possible, but it's like, oh, hit me, you know, it keeps betting everything, bets everyone's souls, because that's Darby Younger's power, he steals souls, and he eventually wins, and just the crazy over-the-top faces they're all making there. There's a moment where Kakuin loses his eyesight, so he's in the hospital for some time. But then he comes back, and he's wearing these badass sunglasses, and he has this line, he's like, I see. His eyes were all fucked up, and he's now wearing sunglasses, and he says, I see. And then they go up against Darby Elder later on once they get to Dio's palace, and Kakuin, they have a video game, like, it's almost like they're playing Mario Kart or something, or a racing video game, and Kakuin, he's like button mashing, and his epic music plays, he's like, oh, I passed you, you can't beat me, Darby, and then Darby eventually beats him anyway, and then Jotaro plays him in a baseball game and wins, and it's like, fucking hell, dude, it isn't called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for nothing. So yeah, Iggy is this mangy mutt, as Polnareff likes to say, and eats this coffee-flavored gum that he likes to chew, and then constantly farts on Polnareff and the other characters, but he particularly takes a liking to Polnareff. And it doesn't want to do his own thing, but eventually witnesses this really gruesome death of these two other dogs, which are right outside Dio's palace, and it's being guarded by this bird, which, let me get the bird's name right. I think his name was Horace, or Pet Shop. His stand name was Horace. Pet Shop, that's like the Pet Shop Boys, that's why, he's called that, right? So he kills these two dogs, and that's the thing with Araki. According to him, he loves dogs, and the reason why he kills dogs in his show is to make you hate the villains even more. It's like, why do these dogs have to suffer such gruesome deaths? I mean, it's crazy. So Iggy has the fight against Pet Shop, and then you finally hear Derek Stephen Prince doing the voice acting there, and Iggy actually loses one of his limbs, but is able to tell the boys that they found Dio's palace. They make their way through Dio's palace, and then our heroes get separated, where you have Polnareff, Abdal, and Iggy going up against Vanilla Ice, and then Joseph and Jotaro going elsewhere. And Abdal and Iggy both die in their fight against Vanilla Ice in a really tragic death. Abdal's not so much, because he had the fake out death, and the way he got like sucked into the miasma, and his arms disappeared. I thought he was gonna be brought back, to be honest with you, just because he had the fake out death early on. But Iggy's death, because Abdal's was so sudden, but Iggy's death was more dramatic, sad music playing, Polnareff crying, and I was ready to start crying during that scene. I got choked up. I'm like, no, not Iggy. And Polnareff's like, why does everyone have to sacrifice themselves for me? Because both Abdal and Iggy sacrificed themselves for Polnareff. And after the fight's done, Polnareff is the first one to approach Dio. And it's like, shit, man. Polnareff, my man. So, you know, eventually, Dio, he's not fully complete because he needs the blood of the Joestars. And he wants to, you know, to fully activate the body, I guess. So they end up having this epic battle in Egypt. And at first, the teams split up. We have Joseph and Kakuin, and then Jotaro and Polnareff. And Kakuin's the one to figure out Dio's stand, which is the world! And it's such an epic scene where Kakuin is using Hierophant Green, and he's like, you're surrounded, Dio! You're ensnared by my Hierophant Green! There's no escape! oh, this epic music, it's Kakyoin's theme. I forget what the hell it's called, but just search it on YouTube. It starts playing, and Kakyoin says, "Now die! 20-meter radius, Emerald Splash!" And it's such an epic scene. You're like, dude, Kakyoin, is he gonna be the one that killed Dio? And as all these blasts are ready to attack Dio, Dio's like, "You're a fool, Kakyoin. With my ability, I have the power to rule the world. Once more, the world!" And you hear like the world sound effect. It's like, it's such a cool sound effect. And Dio's stand has the ability to stop time. And so as Kakyoin is doing this epic attack, Dio stops time. He can stop for like 10 seconds and kills Kakyoin. And it's like, fuck, man. My man, everyone's dropping like flies in the final battle. And even Joseph, he's like, "No, Kakyoin, what happened?" And Kakyoin, you know, he does die, but with his last-ditch effort, he's like, "How can I let them know?" Because he figures out Dio's power. How do I let them know what Dio's power is? So he sees the clock. There's like the clock tower, and he does his last Emerald Splash at the clock to stop time. And Joseph's like, "Is that a sign from Kakyoin? What does that mean?" So he knows that Dio stops time. And then once Polnareff and Jotaro show up to do the surprise attack, he's like, "Jotaro, Dio's stand can stop time itself. Watch out!" And just some epic fucking battles. Like, Polnareff uses Silver Chariot and stabs Dio from the back of the head. And he's like, "Oh, let's get a good look at your face. It's Polnareff." And there's this scene when Dio stops time again and it goes after Joseph. And he grabs this fucking knife. And I thought this was a meme, but this is actually the fucking anime. Like his head is like twisting around with the knife, and he's like, "Muda, muda, 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 muda." It's like doing this attack. It's like, what the fuck? So fucking funny. And he stabs Joseph, and then eventually gets the blood from Joseph. But as he's fighting Jotaro, Jotaro's stand truly unlocks its true potential as Star Platinum the World. And Jotaro can stop time as well. And there's this fucking hilarious scene when Dio starts running away, and with time being stopped out of fucking nowhere, Jotaro pops out of the manhole, and he's like, "And where do you think you're going?" Just the way to... Dude, Matthew Mercer's voice actor is so fucking good, man. Where do you think you're going? So eventually kills Dio, and our heroes go their separate ways in a really heartfelt ending, and I fucking loved it, man. I understand why people say this is their favorite part in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So let me get to some of the screenshots now. Here's some of the voice actors again if you want to look. Just, you got the main villains there, Dio, Patrick. So, oh, well, I'll talk about this with the screenshots. That's the thing. I did my quick little synopsis, but I'll talk more because these guys' stands were pretty funny too. The main characters again, and then this is Polnareff's waifu here, which she's voiced by Casca from Berserk. That's who did that, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, this is the first appearance with Iggy. "Iggy, you mangy mutt!" And then this guy gets Anubis. Look at this. Look at this face. Look at this cute little guy. Iggy. So, you know, they have their battles, and... Good grief. So yeah, this is Oingo Boingo. I think in the English dub it's like Bagdada, something like that. They had to change their names. And the little guy has this book which can see the future, and his brother can transform, and he turns into Jotaro and puts turns this orange into a bomb. But then it turns out he's in the book as Jotaro, and it's just funny how it's almost like the Mandela effect, and he's like, "Oh, no." Such a funny episode, man. And then, because he's out of commission here, but this kid returns with Hall Horse in a really funny episode, and he's trying to do Jotaro's trick, and with that they're like, "Oh, Jotaro, where's your high school uniform? You're not wearing your usual high school uniform. What's with your hat? Your hat's not right." Because there's a thing with his hat. I'm not sure if you guys can notice, but... Well, let's see if there's a better image. Like, it always looks like there's hair sticking out of the back of his hat. Like, where's the back of his hat? You know? That's like a meme that people talk about. So, yeah, Kakyoin loses his vision. He's out of commission for a while. And when he goes up against Anubis, the barber is Anubis, and he's giving Polnareff a shave. And he's like, "Oh, let me just shave your neck right off, Polnareff." Oh, my God. So yeah, this chick shows, this is Mariah. She has the, is that like Mariah Carey? Is that why they name her Mariah? I just thought of that just now. But she has like the magnet stand powers. And I gotta say, like people always say, oh, JoJo's so gay, blah, blah, blah. JoJo's has some waifus too. I mean, Mariah, she's pretty hot, if I do say so myself. She had some cleavage going. Not bad, right? So, they're stuck together with the magnets. And that was a pretty fun battle. All sorts of great strategies involved. This guy turns him young, and Polnareff turns into a little boy. And this other chick again, like, goddamn. Right? So, they save the day. And this is actually a pretty touching scene with Polnareff saying goodbye to his waifu. And you see, he's missing the earring, but then the next episode he has the earring again. So what the fuck was the deal with that? Oh, this is against Darby Younger, where they're having dropping the coins. Dropping the coins. And then Joseph loses his soul. And then Jotaro has to play him in poker. And the guy's like sweating all over. He's like losing his mind. This was the most epic poker match I've ever seen, man. And Jotaro's hand, he had like nothing. He had like a 2, a 5, a 10. And this guy had like 2 jacks, 2 queens, a king. He had it all. So yeah, here's Hallhorse showing up again. And Hallhorse goes back to Dio, and he's like shitting his pants because Dio's like, you come to report this, Hallhorse. Why haven't you disposed of them? You're useless, 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 useless! He didn't say that, but that's what he said in part 1 anyway. So, here's the book. This was fucking hilarious, too. So, Hallhorse was behind Polnareff, and he's trying to tell him, like, you know, he's pointing a gun at my head. Look behind me, and they're like, what's wrong with your mouth? What's going... Are you okay? Are you feeling well, Polnareff? Like, they couldn't figure out that's a fucking arrow? What the hell, man? So, yeah, they go up against Iggy against Pet Shop. This was a pretty epic battle. And Iggy prevails. And then they make their way. Yeah, and just thinking about Holly, like, we gotta stop Dio, save my daughter, save Holly. We gotta do it at all costs. And that's them making their way there against Darby Elder. And here's Kakuin's wearing sunglasses after his eyes were being healed. Because he's gone for like 10 episodes, then he shows up and he's like, I see. Like, you see? What the fuck, dude? This was so epic, though. Making their way to Dio's mansion. Fucking Kino. So, yeah, they start fighting here. And because the 2 Darby brothers, the guy played poker, this guy plays video games. He puts his souls, the other guy put his souls in coins. He puts the souls in dolls. And he has like a Kakuin doll. And Kakuin's themes play while they're playing this video game. And he's like, look at me go! And then Jotaro wins playing fucking baseball. And then Vanilla Ice, they defeated him. Vanilla Ice shows up. He has like the miasmus. And this was Abdal's. I thought Abdal's death was kind of, wasn't as impactful as Iggy's death, in my opinion. Because he just gets his arms chopped off. And I honestly thought he just got sucked into this vortex and he come back, but no, he died. And I'm like, damn. So Polnareff seeks his revenge. And, oh man, I forgot. He's like kicking Iggy. Like, Iggy's lost a limb. He's kicking the poor dog. Look at all the blood on this poor little dog. And then Iggy sacrifices himself. And at the end there, after the battle, you see like this image of Abdal and Iggy making their way to heaven. And Polnareff is the first one to approach Dio. So they make their way there. There's also a funny scene with Dio where he's in this taxi cab. and the cab driver keeps trying to leave, but he's using the world to like reverse time to get him back in the cab. And this scene, man, with Kakuin, now 20-meter radius, Emerald Splash. So fucking good. So good. But yeah, Kakuin died. And then Jotaro gets ready to fight him. And this is the scene. He pops out of the manhole. And where do you think you're going? Oh, so this is the final episode, the final battle. And that's them acknowledging the friends they lost along the way. The friends they made, but also lost along the way. And saying farewell to Polnareff, everyone giving each other a hug, and going their separate ways. Beautiful. And then Jotaro acknowledging the photograph of all his friends. And what a terrific ending, man. This was such a great part. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is great. Just going through these, talking about it again. I want to watch it again. I really do. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. And stay tuned next week for the start of Part 4. Now, Part 4, again, has some returning characters, but a new JoJo, obviously. And is also split into 2 Blu-rays. I think it's 39 episodes, so it's also split into 2 Blu-rays, so that'll be a 2-parter again. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Everybody have a great day.
Yeah.